Well, another close game, another loss for the Colts, guys. It was big game. But before we get into all that, guys, thank you for tuning in for the Blue Stable podcast, the official Colts podcast of Fansided. We are lucky and glad to have you join this show. Now, joined by me as always, Rashad McGinnis, man. Didn't have you on last week because you were taking care of some daddy stuff, some husband stuff, holding the fort down, man. How was your week? How's your Thanksgiving?
My Thanksgiving tasted a lot better when I thought a dub was coming on Sunday. But since we beat the Bills last week, I'm not too upset about what occurred Sunday. We got to clean some things up, but I am encouraged by some of the things I saw. We're going to get into that later. But all in all, man, it was good to see some family. It was good to eat good. We was just talking about food, right? Complete transparency. We was just talking about food. Mike has me really hungry right now. So,
yeah,
hey, that's how I'm feeling right now.
Look, there were 3 embarrassing, pathetic football games on Thanksgiving. But what got me through it? Oh my Lord, man! My freaking mother-in-law's mac and cheese is the greatest. Oh man, that's all I had. Screw the turkey, screw the green bean casserole, the turnip green, screw all that, man. I just had mac and cheese. That's what I do.
Good mac and cheese, you appreciate it when you get
it.
Dude,
man, her mac and cheese is the greatest I've ever had. It is the greatest I've ever had, man. Greatest. I mean, it's good. She makes it with butter and everything, the perfect sample size. Delicious taste, everything, man. But this is not the Blue Stable Kitchen podcast, guys. This is the Blue Stable podcast, all right? And there was a huge game yesterday between the Indianapolis Colts and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, man, Rashad, talk to me, man. What were your feelings about yesterday's game?
Frustration, man. Frustration. First excitement at how the game started, and then as the game was going along, I was like, man, we've seen this movie before. I tweeted at halftime. That was probably the best quarter we played this season. And then I said, but let's not get ahead of ourselves, guys. We saw this movie, and sure enough, man, the thing I was fearing the most, it happened. But like I said, I was very encouraged by some things I seen. Yes, the loss was tough. I had to get off Twitter because Coach Twitter was in freaking shambles yesterday. And I was at work today, and as I peeked in on it, it looked like it still was in shambles. You probably could speak more to it if you was on today, but it looked like it was still a shit show on there as I looked and I glanced. So I got off again for a good little while to kind of give my mind a rest before the show.
Yeah, man. Honestly, I think for like the rest of the season, I'm probably going to stay away from Twitter after. I mean, even yesterday and today, going back and forth with a couple people, a couple of our fans and everything that like to tune in. And thank you, by the way, for tuning in. I mean, talking about the game, talking about football, not everybody, and not even me. I mean, I'm not some know-it-all about football or anything. If I was, I'd be pursuing a career path in coaching, but obviously not, because we're going to go 0-16. I mean, having a understanding of the game of football helps. And I think it is clear some people do lack that. Some people do have that knowledge of football and they know what they're talking about. And when people want to criticize Frank Reich, they make great points. They do make great points, but I think they point that anger too much at Frank Reich. You know what I mean? I mean, if Carson Wentz throws the worst pass in all of NFL history, they're going to blame Frank Reich for why he didn't run the ball in that play. Like,
absolutely.
That's
You're right about that.
That's literally how it goes. So, I mean, guys, I think what we don't realize is that we can hold players accountable too. You know that, right? Like, we can do that too. Not everything is Frank Reich's fault. Not everything.
You can't do that, Mike.
Nah, man. You have to. You got to bring some transparency. You got to bring some context and just be overall fair. That's just what you have to do. But getting into the good, the bad, the ugly of this game, guys, we're gonna jump into the good, man. It's hard to talk about the good after yesterday, but getting into the good today, we're gonna start with Carson Wentz, man. He was dealing yesterday. I mean, the second quarter was probably his best quarter of football this entire year against that defense in this game. He delivered. I mean, especially that wheel route by Jack Doyle to hit him perfectly in stride. And there was a window that was closing between the safety and the corner closing in, or I think it was a linebacker covering him on that wheel route. And that window was about to close. He hit him perfectly in stride, running for it. I believe it was on our last touchdown, or no, not the last touchdown. We ran the ball that whole, but it was a pivotal drive. It was like 3rd and 14 or so, and he runs for it. Outruns Ndamukong Suh, gets the first down. Carson Wentz played great yesterday. He played great yesterday. You cannot put this loss on Carson Wentz whatsoever. You really can't. I mean, the poise, the precision, the accuracy, I loved it. And I like the game plan going forward. We'll get into that here in a little bit, but man, Carson Wentz definitely had a really, really good showing yesterday.
Oh yeah, man. Carson Wentz, I'm extremely pleased with the way he played. I knew one day or one of these games we're gonna have to win a game like this, or just prove we can at least go at it with a team like this. And I think for us to be in there punch for punch with one of the deepest, most complete rosters in the NFL from top to bottom, I think it's a statement. It was a statement game for Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz showed that when he's playing well, this team can compete with anybody in the NFL. We were right there. We've been right there with a bunch of elite teams. We didn't close out some, but we closed out one last week. So that's promising to see. Carson Wentz, I believe he was 27 for 40, 43 or 44, I believe, over 300 yards, 3 touchdowns. I'm going to say 1 intercept. I know it was 2 intercepts, but one of them was on a Hail Mary. I'm not mad at that at all. And the only intercept of the game that I will acknowledge was a jump ball to Michael Pittman with a 5'10" Antoine Winfield on him. I'm sure we'll get into that later, but that's a ball you got to throw, in that situation. One-on-one, give your guy a chance. You got a stud receiver. He's lined up with a safety, a smaller safety at that. You have to take that shot. I'm not mad at Carson for throwing that. He played great, man. He played phenomenal, in my opinion. The strike to Ashton Dulin, he hit Ashton Dulin in stride on a pass that had to travel at least about 50 yards in the air. It was a 62-yard total, but at least 50 of those was air yards, dropped it in the breadbasket. Carson Wentz was playing out of his mind, and I didn't see that coming, but he needed a performance like that to kind of solidify himself as the guy. I know next week, officially, statistically, the first-round pick will get sent over to the Philadelphia Eagles. He will cross the 75% threshold in the middle of next week's game. And I have no problem. I won't lose a bit of sleep at night after seeing what Carson has done so far for the Indianapolis Colts in his first season as a starter.
And when you think long-term, I mean, giving up only a first and a third, that is highway robbery for a quarterback in his prime. That is highway robbery. Deshaun Watson, if he ever gets traded, that's about to be what? 4 first-round picks, 2 starters. We didn't have to give up anybody. We gave up a third rounder. Who did the Eagles take with that third rounder? Do you know?
I can't remember.
I can't think of it off the top of my head, but the first rounder, I mean, who are I'm pretty sure it's going to be a good player. There's a good batch of defensive players in this year's draft. And we'll see what happens there, but passing up
and a contract.
And a contract. A cheap contract. That is highway robbery. Chris Ballard.
Like you said, they're trading four first rounders for Deshaun Watson and paying him $40 million per year at that. So,
yes. So
it's a win, man. It's a no-brainer.
Huge win.
Yeah, it's a no-brainer.
It's a huge win. If Carson Wentz can win a couple Super Bowls in Indy, that will probably be one of the greatest trades of this generation.
It will be if that's possible. Even if he gets one, it's going to be probably a top 10 definitely. Trade. When you look at the pure value of it, because we got DeForest Buckner for a first round, nobody's complaining.
Nope.
Now we're getting a potential quarterback that And Carson Wentz numbers is going to be really, really good at the end of the season, man.
They are.
It's a fine trade. I have no problem at all, like with this deal. Philly's probably kicking themselves, especially after the performance Jalen Hurts put on yesterday. I don't think they have their guy of the future. That's another podcast for another day. I think they're going to be in the quarterback market again this offseason.
Yeah. And continuing here with the good guys on the Blue Stable podcast, we're going to get into Jack Doyle, man. The game of his life. The game of his life. 6 receptions, 81 yards, and a touchdown. I mean, what was it? I think 3 of his catches were first downs. No, 4 of his catches were first downs. Can you imagine that, man?
4. It was 4.
4 catches.
I can actually remember them
for first downs. That is crazy.
Yeah, if you count the tutty, if you count the
touchdown, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, what can you say, man? I've said for a while, man. I've said for a while, man, you need more out of this tight end group. And at this point, man, whatever pass down snaps you're going to give to Molly Cox, man, I'm done. Give them to Kylan Granson. I'm ready to move off.
Well, that didn't look bad. He didn't look bad in limited action yesterday, limited snaps. Granson looked pretty good.
He looked pretty good.
I see some upside for him. Definitely.
He at least knows what he's doing. That's the good part about it. He's not going to get ran off his route by a 180-pound corner. That's not going to happen.
And we got killed, bro, this offseason. We was uncovering the mystery of Mo Cox and why he's not involved in the offense as people feel like he should be.
Yeah.
And people killed us. And
I even thought it was time. I thought it was time. Man, year 5, how much more development does he need? It's time. And he still sits at 220 receiving yards. That's just pathetic. But guys, back to Jack Doyle, man. He did a good, solid job. Reliable hands, always reliable. See, I don't mind keeping Jack Doyle because he's that reliable. But you know that you're not going to get this production weekly or
consistently,
even,
right?
Or even bi-weekly. You're consistent. It's not going to come. This is probably going to be this was probably his best game in 2 years. I mean, in my opinion, that's been. He did a good job blocking as well.
Yeah, probably.
We'll have to go back and look at it. But man, what was your session of Jack Doyle?
To hit on your point, and I think you talk about this all the time. You want this kind of production frequently out your tight end. You know, this is what you always stress about. And I notice you always talk about that when you speak about the offense, saying getting a tight end in here that can do that on a consistent basis. And I remember me and you were big advocates for us getting Zach Ertz. Like when people were saying Ertz was old and they didn't know if he can still do it, you know, me and you was 2 of the people that was really saying how big of a move that would be and what that can do for this offense, even getting Carson a familiar face. You know, that could have opened up a lot for this offense. And we see Ertz doing that exact thing with the Arizona Cardinals. But if we could get this kind of production out of our tight end consistently, whether it's Jack Doyle, whether it's Mo Cox, whether it's Kylan Granson, it would just open up a whole nother element to this offense. And that's what we need to attack more. I think this offense lacks attack in the middle of the field as much as it should be, especially in the short to intermediate game. You know, only time we really hit the middle is when we run a couple of crosses. But our tight ends are nowhere near as involved enough in this offense. And we know that's a big component to Frank Reich's offenses. You know, whenever he's had success, he's had great tight end play. And that's something we just haven't had. We tried different avenues. We brought in Trey Burton last year, thought he could be that guy, and he gave it to us in spurts. But now we were excited about Kylan Granson this offseason. It's clear to see he's more of a project. He's going to be slow coming along. Hopefully he hits a gear in a year or two, and you got your guy of the future. But I think that's going to be on the short list of needs for this team this offseason, to go get a true difference maker at the tight end position, whether it's via the draft or free agency. I haven't started doing my draft research yet, so I haven't gotten the chance to look at the guys. But I plan to dig into some of that, because I think that's going to be one of the bigger needs for this team, because as you can see, if a tight end can consistently do what Jack Doyle did yesterday, that would do wonders for Carson.
Oh, I mean, you harped on it. We've talked about the tight end position. It really helps this offense kick it into a full other gear. And you saw that yesterday. Even when the wide receivers are struggling, you're still moving the ball consistently because you have someone. Now, imagine if you just inserted someone who can do that consistently. This offense has a whole other door that you just, I mean, right now,
Absolutely.
the door is halfway open on this offense. When you add that tight end, it gets full blown open. That's how pivotal it is. Now, when it comes to the draft, I've researched a few, but my guy early, man, is Isaiah Likely from Coastal Carolina. I really like his build. He's gonna be a receiver type. He's not gonna be a blocker or anything like that. But being a receiver type, man, just get Mo out of here, man. Just get him out of here. I'm so done.
So you're off the mode?
No, dude, I'm off, man. I got on the boat this off season. I got on it this season. Hope for the best, but dude, he can't even block anymore either. So. He's cooked, man. Got love.
What has happened to him as a blocker, man? He was a plus blocker, and now it just looks like he's just a body out there.
He's just out there running around, man. He's just out there running around. That's really it. But continuing on here with the good, we got to stay on the good, man.
Okay.
Frank Reich. I know a lot of people are not gonna agree with this, but Frank Reich called a masterful game. I loved the game plan going forward. And as the game moved on, you saw what that game plan was. You could, even when the turnovers were happening, he stuck with the game plan. Now, clearly the second quarter, Jesus, man, when you're executing. Now, once again, notice how, and I was going through Twitter because I'm curious about these things. You go through Twitter during the second quarter, Reich is dealing, Reich is on fire. This offense is going. Then after the game, fire him. I'm so done. I'm this, I'm that. Like, guys, once again, it's okay to blame the players here. And I'll continue to get to the players later on. But especially, what about today? In his conference call, I loved his explanation. Now, I don't have it by me. I could play it on my phone into the microphone. It has pretty good sound. I have the iPhone 13, pretty good sound, pretty good speaker. But I'm not sure if I'm going to do that to your guys' ears. But what I love, he doubled down. He even dumb it down for the people that really don't understand. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We talk about, oh my gosh, you abandoned the rush. I mean, there's two goofballs that act like they understand the game over in Twitter. I'm not going to mention them, but two goofballs that have a X's and O's guy in their pocket and they still don't know a lick about football. Criticizing Frank Reich. How do you not get your MVP involved? He tried to get him involved. He tried throwing him the ball a few times, and clearly that didn't work because Tampa was on their P's and Q's. So credit to Tampa. It's okay to credit the defense and criticize. It's okay, guys.
They had a game plan.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Like Todd Bowles is he's a better coordinator than he is a head coach. Let's remember who Todd Bowles is.
Right.
Take out that Jets tenure and remember who he was as a coordinator. Let's remember that. So clearly you saw that. Now everybody makes a big deal about this 26, 27, what was it? 26, 27 straight dropbacks. Frank Reich, once again today, he mentioned it. About 6 or 8 of those plays were, designed to go to Jonathan Taylor in an RPO, but they were checked out of it. That's Carson's job. And you're going against these heavy man boxes. And for the people that apparently said that Tampa Bay was playing the pass, no, they weren't.
No,
there was not one time they were playing the pass. Rashad, I don't know about you, but I consistently saw 7 or more guys in the box.
Five down linemen plus Devin White and Levante David. I'm not too good at math, but 5 down linemen plus Devin White, Levante David.
That is 7 on 5 right there. So clearly that's not going to happen. In the first half, he had 8 carries for 25 yards. You're averaging 1.7 yards per carry, which I tweeted earlier today. Why the hell would Frank go with that? Why would he continue with that? If he continued, you would freaking bash him for not scoring more points and opening up the pass. Guys, this isn't Madden. This isn't Madden rookie mode that you play every day after school, after college. This isn't that. This is real life grown man football, game planning. There's a game plan you come up with, and he had that. Even go to the second half, that last 2-minute drill. I'm not sure if anyone's even noticed this, but when the Colts are in quick 2-minute drill that they were when they went down, Jonathan Taylor's not a part of that. That's Nyheim Hines. So when the media is trying to win, the media, and because there's a couple of media members out there that throw that stat out as well, and y'all want to feed off of it, but don't want to understand Frank Reich, the RPO system, and his game plan, which I mentioned earlier in the show. It's okay. It's okay if you don't know. Hell, I'm still learning so much more about football. I mean, I make takes on here, and then I think about, go watch, get educated. I'm like, oh man, I was wrong on that take earlier on the show. It happens, guys. But understand that in a 2-minute drill, which the Colts were, where this stat originated from, the Colts don't use Jonathan Taylor. That is more Nyheim Hines' role. That's his role. So that was like what, 8 plays? So 8 plays out of 26. Now you're down to 18.
You could just take that out. You could just take that out, right?
Yeah. So now we're at 18. Now you have 6 to 8 plays that were supposed to go to Jonathan. Carson checked out of them. So now you're down to 9 plays, 10, 12 plays.
Which is perfectly fine to take him out for a drive. Which is a drive. A drive
exactly.
down the
I'm
field.
not trying to make him Derrick Henry and have him 300 carries in 4 games.
That's what the fans want.
That's what, man, y'all want him to retire by the time he's 26. He ain't going to make it to a second contract. That's what y'all want it to happen. That's what y'all want to happen. I applaud Frank Reich. He doubled down. And think about the Buccaneers were clearly hurt. They're clearly hurt. Why are you not attacking that more? And that's exactly what he did. Now, for those of you that, question, well, why couldn't they beat the pass? They did beat them in the secondary, but guess what? Even like you said, to that interception, that jump ball, Michael Pittman versus Antoine Winfield wasn't single high safety. He was the only single high safety out there. But guess what? Antoine Winfield is probably a top 3 safety in this game already in his second year, because he's back there and he's one of the very few safeties in the league that can play single high consistently. Be back there alone on an island and defend it so well. You saw it, the redirection, the flipping of the hips, the angle. It was beautiful. I hated it because it was an interception, but we rewatched it earlier. That was beautiful technique safety football. It was beautiful. Now, I'll get to Michael Pittman in a minute, but what do y'all want him to do? Now, of course, we're going to get into the turnovers here in a little bit because I'm sick and tired of this dude. But we're going to get into him in a little bit. Rashad, I was talking way too much. I didn't let you get in. But Rashad, you awake? Wake up, Rashad.
Let me stretch, man. And I know people about to hate me, man. So I'm just going to go ahead and stretch before I get into what I got to say. Frank Reich called the game exactly how he should have called the game. He put this team in position to win due to some turnovers and some costly errors and mistakes we made. We didn't win the game. I'll be damned if play calling is one of the reasons we didn't win this game. We didn't win this game due to lack of Jonathan Taylor touches. He finished the game with 16 carries, 83 yards. That's about what I expected him to get. People all week was just hammering this 150, 180, 200. Listen, this Tampa Bay defense was never going to give up 200 yards. 150, $125. They were not going to do that. The first play of the game, I don't even know if you remember, was a handoff straight to Jonathan Taylor. Vita Vea smacked him at the line of scrimmage. I say that's going to be what type of game this is.
I think the second drive was also Golston just destroyed.
It was Golston as well.
He destroyed Chris Reed, pushed him back, bullied him, and tackled Jonathan Taylor for a 3-yard loss.
Listen, these and they tried some misdirection things, outside zone plays. These linebackers are way too fast for that. You're not going to fool these linebackers. The counters, the misdirections, the zones, anything to the outside is getting tracked down by Devin White and Levante David. Like, it's just not going to happen. Anything going inside, it's Vita Vea, Golston, and Dominican Sue. Those guys get after it, man. And Jason Pierre-Paul and Shaq Barrett are not just pass rushers. Those guys play to run and set the edge well, bro. They're not just a team that you're going to line up and punch in them out. They average 78 yards rushing per game for a reason. They're very talented. And for the people that saying, I seen a stat, they gave up 100 yards in 4 of the last 5 games. Vita Vea wasn't there. It correlates, If we missed DeForest Buckner and DeForest Buckner for 1 game last year against Derrick Henry. And what did he do to our team? He destroyed us. So that's the impact that Vita Vea has on their defensive line. No, we're not saying it's just one guy, but they work together well as a unit. And that was never going to be the plan. Frank Reich knew we had to throw the ball. We saw the most success on offense throwing the ball. Our best quarter was the second quarter. We scored 21 points in that quarter. Carson Wentz played lights out. And that's also was the quarter that the Jonathan Taylor disappearance that y'all saying Frank Reich did. That's the quarter it started in, when we was having success, marching up and down the field on Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay didn't have any game plan for that because they never expected us to play that way. Frank Reich was set out to prove that we can win a football game a different type of way, which you have to be able to win multiple ways to beat playoff caliber teams. You're not just going to go into every hostile environment or hostile game with the same game plan as the last week and be able to just line up and punch everybody in the mouth and run it down their throat. So y'all get confused with this run the damn ball slogan and take that to your head and think we could just run it on everybody. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. Carson Wentz got loose throwing the ball, and the success we saw Jonathan Taylor have in the fourth quarter was due to the fact that that Tampa defense was wore out by then. They had just came off a Monday night game, so they had a short week. They were fatigued when Jonathan Taylor started breaking some of those runs, and we scored our last touchdown. That was why you had success. But Tampa Bay never strayed away from how they played. Like Mike said, they ran single high safety all game and kept 7 in the box and say, if you're going to beat us, you're going to beat us by throwing the football, which Carson Wentz almost did, except for a few costly turnovers, 4 of them to be exact. Like I said, I disregard that interception, that Hail Mary interception. 4 turnovers that just cannot happen. And we're going to get to that in a few, the reason why those turnovers occurred. But Frank Reich did everything he could do to put this team in position to win the game. And that's all I have to say about that.
And here's my thing. I mean, I don't think people just don't understand that they can actually credit a defense. I mean, Todd Bowles prides himself on toughness up front. That is what he tried to do in New York. But sometimes, that's why you saw them draft a Leonard Williams. That's why you saw them go after a Quinnen Williams. That's why you saw them. I mean, that's what he wants to do. But I really don't see how you can sit there and blame Frank Reich. I mean, people always want to come out here. Colts are undefeated this when Jonathan Taylor goes for 100 yards. Yeah, you know why? Because I went back and looked at that stat. You've beaten one playoff team when Jonathan Taylor goes over 100. Everyone else was fighting for a draft pick. So, yeah, I'll leave it at that. Rashad, one last thing about Frank Reich.
Yeah, one last thing, and I'm glad you passed it back to me because I always say this all the time, and I know you probably tired of hearing me say it, but the people need to hear me say it. Y'all are more mad at execution than y'all are at play calling, and y'all don't even know it. Because when he's rolling in the second quarter and he's throwing those passes and it's working, you're not upset. So you're not mad at the play caller. You're mad at the execution. When he's throwing the ball and it doesn't work, now it's, we should have ran the damn ball. We should have did this. That's execution, folks. Because if you're mad at the play calling, if you're truly mad at the play calling, when he's throwing it and it's working, you would still be upset. You would say, no, Frank Reich should run the ball some more right now. He should be running the ball. He should be giving the ball to Jonathan Taylor. But you're not, because it's working. That means you're not mad at the play caller. You're mad at the execution. And if you're mad at the execution, then acknowledge that. But a lot of y'all don't know the difference between being mad at play calling and being mad at execution.
And look, I also want to credit Frank Reich because it's hard to stick to your game plan in the NFL. You come into a game with a game plan, the game doesn't go how you expect in the first half, first quarter, and you change it. You have to make adjustments. But Frank Reich, you could easily tell, air it out, and then in the fourth quarter, waste the clock. pound it down their throat. And you see that it worked. Now, we're getting out of the good. Let's get into the bad. I have praised him. I love him. I still love him. He is still the number one guy on this team. But damn it, Michael Pittman, where were you? Where were
I've been waiting to hear your explanation for this.
Where were you?
You owe us an apology, Mike.
The first target, I think Carson Wentz put the ball in the right place. What happened? Did you slip? Were you off balance? Was your head clearly not in the game? Where were you? Where were you? Then on a third down, this is stuff you get taught in high school, Mike. Get your head around, especially when you're running a 5-yard route. Turn your head around quickly.
RPOs, you gotta get your head. Got to get your head around on the RPO.
They just hits him in his face. In his face. Mike, we're going to you because you are the best in this room, in that group.
Absolutely.
You set the standard for yourself. You set a high standard for yourself. You're a second-year wide receiver, but when you have performed the way that you have, when you have set the standard that you have, you don't get those excuses. Your head was not in the game, and you clearly saw the Colts wanted to get you going early. The Colts relied on you getting going early, and you weren't there. You did not step up. Where was your head? Was it trying to make another game day vlog? Was it trying to do another TikTok? What was it? Where was your head? Because we were trying to get you the ball, get going. And then wide freaking open right through the palm of your hands. It wasn't fingertips. Maybe the ball was behind, but it still hit the palm of his hands and he dropped it. Michael Pittman, where were you? Where? Okay, you stepped up later on, but you realize how important starts to a game are? And you clearly saw the Colts wanted to start off with you going off. And your head wasn't in the game. As much as I'm going to love you when you perform, I'm going to come down on you twice as hard when you don't. Because that was some pathetic football that I saw from you in the first quarter. That was pathetic. I don't give a damn if you're a second year. I don't care. That was pathetic. You catch those balls all the time. At USC, you caught those balls. You caught them in double teams. I'm not gonna wait till 1 o'clock in the morning for the USC game to end. But when I did watch him, he was mossing everybody. Where were those hands this time, man? Not in this game. In this game, you chose to have that start. In this game, the biggest game, possibly the biggest game of the year, you decided to start off this pathetic. You don't do that. When you're trying to chase greatness, you don't do that. You can do that against the Texans. You can do that against the Dolphins. You can say, fuck them, they suck. I don't care. I'll show up in the second half. Not against the defending champs. Man, he pissed me off yesterday. He plays better than that. He's capable of better than that. And his head wasn't in the game, man.
Well done. Well put. I can't echo those sentiments any more than what you said, but a couple of things I want to say is, Mike, you're a lot better than that, man. Like, you're a lot better than that. And you can see that Frank Reich created this game plan around Michael Pittman. The second he decided we got to throw to beat those guys, which he said in his post-game press conference that we had to throw to beat those guys, who do you think he's going to build the game plan around? It's certainly not Jack Doyle. Sure, Jack Doyle showed up big and came through for us, but Michael Pittman, this was supposed to be his ball game. He had a chance to dominate. He had a secondary where no one can guard him in. He was the mismatch in this ball game. They had Murphy bunting on him, a guy that really is a slot cornerback, but plays outside due to the fact that Carlton Davis is still not here. They had Pierre Desir
And he's very hit or miss weekly.
Yeah.
He's hit or miss.
As we saw, Doyle hit him for 62 earlier in the game. But Michael Pittman, baby, come on, man. Like, I'm a diehard USC fan for most of y'all that don't know. I've seen Michael Pittman make those catches, those same catches. It had to be something, going on with him mentally, because he makes those catches in his sleep. Easily. Michael Pittman falls out of bed in the morning and can make those catches. Like RPOs, you have to get your head around quick. It has to be within a couple of seconds, because if Carson waits any longer on that, it's going to be an offensive lineman downfield, because they don't know whether they're run blocking or pass blocking in that situation until after the play has been snapped, after the ball's been snapped. So Mike knows whether in a half a second, if that ball is going to be coming to him, he has to get his head around that situation. Michael Pittman, you can't slip coming out of your break. That's a possible touchdown, or at least it's a big first down on the drive. Carson came to you early and often. You had 10 targets. You only came out with 4 of those catches. Like, I expect you to be better than this. You are our alpha dog. We're going to move forward with you being the number 1 receiver in this offense. You are the future. Hell, you are the present for this team right now. T.Y. Hilton is not getting any younger. And T.Y. Hilton looks every bit of his age. But it's on to you. You have been passed the baton, Mike. I need you to respond like you was earlier in this season and get back to playing dominating football like we know you can. This has been the biggest stage that you was going to be on this season, and you didn't respond accordingly. You had a good game, solid game last week, but that was the Jonathan Taylor game. This was supposed to be the Michael Pittman game, but we never got it. Mm-hmm. And it's just, and it speaks to more goodness about Carson Wentz, because with his top dog down, not playing well, he was still able to manufacture 300 yards by spreading the ball out to different receivers, which is another notch to Carson Wentz's belt. Had Michael Pittman been on his A game, we could have seen Carson throw for 350, maybe 400. And Michael Pittman could have easily had a 100-yard day on this receiving core. Yeah. There's no reason Michael Pittman should not get to 100 yards and have a touchdown against those guys.
And look, I mean, let's go back to when he got mossed by Antoine Winfield Jr. In real time yesterday.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, go ahead.
In real time, I thought that was DPI. I went back, and honestly, I don't think it was. I really don't think it was. I think it was just good safety play by Antoine Winfield. Maybe did you see the hands in the back? Maybe, but there wasn't enough contact that warranted a DPI. He clearly, didn't extend the arms, which is the number one thing refs look for, the arm extension when the ball is in the air. You didn't do any of that. The ball was underthrown, which they typically are. That's why they call it a jump ball.
He was giving Pittman a chance to go up.
He was giving him a chance.
Yeah.
And Pittman, really? I mean, that is a really good safety, don't get me wrong. But no, that's not supposed to happen. That's not supposed to happen.
Pittman supposed to dunk on him. Pittman has to dunk on him.
You are literally supposed to just do that with your hands in your touchdown celebration. He's too small, but you got mossed. That's all I got to say about Michael Pittman, man. I'm going to stay consistent. I love this guy, but man, when he plays, that pissed me off yesterday, that performance. Freaking pathetic. Beating a dead horse, man. Moving on here, continuing the bad. Second half defense, once again, shows up. Here's another thing, talking with a few of you guys on Twitter today. We've been going back and forth a little bit. A lot of y'all really let that Buffalo game get to your head. Y'all really did. I mentioned with Marcus in our preview show, in this game, there's not going to be no heavy wind. There's not going to be no heavy rain, which clearly affected Buffalo. It is going to be dry turf all day. And I said that this defense won't give that same performance they gave in Buffalo. Buffalo has no run game. So when you got out up early, they had no choice but to pass the ball. You clearly saw it. Misfires from Josh Allen, drops by the receivers, Butterfingers, everything. You saw it. I even said it on the previous show with Marcus. There's not going to be rain in Lucas Oil on Sunday. There's not going to be wind in Lucas Oil on Sunday. y'all kind of let that go get to your head a little bit, because the biggest red flag, it was a big win. It was a good win, a dominating win. But you still have to go back, analyze the game, and pick up on the crumbs that you see. And the crumbs that I saw in that game, even though Josh Allen misfired on many throws, there were many passes dropped by receivers. Those receivers were still wide open. They were still wide open. That's the crumb that I picked up on. There wasn't anything different that Matt Eberflus did. Now, they did have a good performance, yes. But my man, 41-15, if that was dry, it probably would have been 41-38. Probably. It probably would have been. You just go back to it. Stephon Diggs, potential first down, drop. Cole Beasley, potential first down, drop. Dawson Knox, potential first down, drop. Drop. Emmanuel Sanders. You saw it. And the second half defense. Once again, we keep criticizing Frank Reich. But I just want to understand, Rashad, when are we going to talk about this defense consistently giving up 30 points or more in the biggest games of the year? We've had 3-4 biggest games of the year, 2 games against Tennessee, against Buffalo, against Tampa Bay. And you consistently keep giving up so many points. Consistently.
Baltimore game too.
Baltimore. And people even talk about, well, you shut down San Francisco. It was pouring rain, flooding rain with a one-legged Jimmy G. Guys, this is not rocket science. This isn't. Stop making this hard. Rashad, I don't even know what to say anymore, man. I mean, the defense did put up a good fight. The first 3 drives of the game, really good, really solid. They showed that they were physical. They're going to match Tampa Bay's physicality. But, man, look, I know he was a beast in college and all, but you really let Leonard Fournette go off on you like that? Leonard Fournette isn't that guy, but you made him be that guy.
New Orleans native.
Yeah.
Okay, well, what I'm gonna say about this defense is, since we didn't have any defensive things listed for the good, I'm just gonna go ahead and run through the good real quick, and then I'm gonna tell you my thoughts as a whole. DeForest Buckner, sir, you had a great game, sir. You played well, and you're injured. We saw you go down with an injury. Went to the sideline, got on a bike, jogged in place. You got it right. You came back out there. You performed well, sir. Darius Leonard, 15 tackles, another turnover, another forced fumble, another punch. You played well, sir. Isaiah Rodgers played pretty well. Xavier Rhodes even played pretty well. Rock, solid game. The drop pick was costly, though. The drop pick was very costly. That could have been a potential pick 6. You won't get a pick easier than that. You dropped it
against
in
the
goat. Passing,
against the GOAT.
Against the GOAT, yeah.
You dream of picking that guy off.
Just like your pick against Aaron Rodgers last year was your signature highlight play of the season. You had one this year. You had it right there. You dropped it. That defensive pass interference you had was what I didn't like about the call was the fact that both of you guys were hand fighting. But I can tell you, whenever you grab and you hold the jersey, it's gonna get called. I know the receiver had his hand back; he was hand fighting with you, but you can tug and let go.
You can grab that mother.
You can pull and let go all day. You can pull. If you're feeling your hands back, you're feeling for what a receiver is. That's technique. But when you grab, can't do it. Defense, you're not good. You wasn't good yesterday. You were bailed out, dude, in the first couple of drives. Like Mike said, y'all played steady. Tom Brady was having some miscommunication with his wide receivers.
Yep, you saw it.
And yeah, you can see early on. I think the Colts might even confuse Tom Brady a couple of times in the coverages and confuse the receivers. Once Tom Brady settled in, Tom Brady was Tom Brady. But the fact that the ball was consistently ran on you guys, supposed to be a top 5 rushing defense in the NFL. And Al-Qadim Muhammad was getting destroyed in the run game. Leonard Fournette was running straight at him. They were running the ball straight at him consistently. And it was a lot of poor tackling. We saw poor tackling on Leonard Fournette. We saw poor tackling on Gronk. Gronk had a dominant throwback game against you guys. The Colts have struggled to cover tight ends. That's one negative about this Matt Eberflus defense. It doesn't scheme well for tight ends. Tight ends can easily destroy that defense. The middle of the field is consistently left open. Consistently. Play in and play out. Gronk exposed that. He had a field day. Cameron Brady even had a couple of catches easy in the middle of the field. The pass rush was not there. We saw Kwity Paye get a sack in his 3rd straight game. I'm happy for that.
That was really a coverage sack. It was really a coverage sack. Tom Brady stepped up, and most likely defensive ends are going to get a sack in that situation. So I didn't read too much into it. Credit to him for actually securing the sack. We see too many times the sack doesn't get secured. So at least he's securing it.
Yeah. DeForest Buckner had a sack as well, I believe, and he batted the ball out on a crucial 3rd down at the line of scrimmage, preventing them from scoring a touchdown. But this defense was just too much of what we've seen in the past, man. Just getting shredded. High percentage throws being allowed. Like, Tom Brady wasn't going through his progressions really. It wasn't needed. You know, his first, wherever his eyes went at first was pretty much where he went with the football. And it was just too easy, man. On the last drive for them to win the game, don't you know they didn't have a 3rd down that drive? They only had 3 second downs. It was a 2nd and 7, a 2nd and 4, and a 2nd
game-losing drive.
The game-losing drive.
Yep.
Not one 3rd down situation.
Nope.
We even got them behind the stick when they behind the chains when they jumped off sides, and it was 1st and 15. I said, okay, we got a shot. Draw play, Leonard Fournette.
It was what?
Got all of that back.
It was what? 8 plays, 5 first downs.
Yeah. They didn't have one 3rd down that drive. You get them into a 1st and 15 situation, Leonard Fournette hits you with a 10-yard, 11-yard draw. Now they had a 2nd and 5. Like, what are you doing as a defense?
Yeah.
That cannot happen. That absolutely cannot happen, but we've seen it happen far too often for us to just ignore it. At some point in time, it's no longer a coincidence, it's a pattern.
Yep.
And we see the pattern developing, and it always happens when we're trying to put teams away. We struggle to do that. If we don't get a turnover, I told Zach, our good buddy Zach Hicks, he said, he tweeted right before the last drive, he said, I have no idea how the Colts do it, but the Colts need to stop. I said, well, it's either turnover or nothing. We're either going to force a turnover or luck up into a turnover, or we're not going to stop them. Tom Brady's going to take them down the field, and they're going to score, whether it's a field goal or a touchdown, whatever is needed to beat us, because I have no confidence in this defense. Whenever we need to get a stop, it just hasn't been there this season.
And here's my thing, and you said it again. The tight ends absolutely killed us. They killed us. Mike Evans and Chris Godwin combined for 7 receptions and 40 yards receiving. Rocket Sin and Isaiah Rodgers were doing their damn job. They were doing their damn job. But Rob Gronkowski, Cameron Brate, what? And even on the last, man, dude, I can't even get mad about this anymore. The last drive. Why are dudes so far back?
Tom Brady was 5 for 5 on that drive.
5 for 5. No resistance. No nothing. Just back. And you know what's crazy about it? You know what's crazy? We know Tom Brady too well. And we know this defense too well. Right before they took that field, I sat on my couch and I said, the Buccaneers are scoring this drive. They're scoring. They're going to win this game because Matt Eberflus isn't going to do anything different. He's going to back his guys up, and in typical Tom Brady fashion, he's going to dink and dunk his way down the field. You let him do that. You let him do that. Why are we playing in space? Why are we leaving pockets open? Where is the man-to-man? Where is the press coverage? Where is any of that? I don't even now. I can't even get mad at Matt Eberflus anymore because I already know he's trash. I already know. I mean, like I give him credit. He is consistently trash. At least he's consistent about it.
Right.
But now my eyes point to Chris Ballard. Where's the accountability? If you don't want to make a change right now, Jesus, Lord help us. But after the season, man, I need answers. I need some answers. I don't want to hear nothing about Corey Willis, Julian Black. I don't want to hear none of that. I don't want to hear none of that. You have consistently been beaten every single year, every single week, every single big game. I tweeted it out yesterday. I'm saying it again. Since 2018, when Matt Eberflus took over as defensive coordinator of the Indianapolis Colts, in all games against top 10 offenses, you have given up an average of 405.3 yards, 33.7 points. But y'all want to blame the offense. I get it. The muff pump by Nyheim Hines, that put him in a bad spot.
We're going to get to that.
That did put him in a bad spot. We'll get to that. It's hard in the NFL to stop, especially when you're at the 13-yard line. It's hard. I don't put that one. I mean, your job is to stop them, and you can't. It's the thing. You can't rely on this defense. Remember what I said last year, guys. If y'all were following me in Destin last year, following us this year. If your problems week one are your problems late or at the end of the season, you're not going anywhere. Week one, left tackle, pass rush, second half defense in general. What was the problem yesterday? Pass rush, second half defense, left tackle. Now let's get into the ugly real quick. I do want to note that officiating was absolutely crap yesterday. It was bad. They weren't consistent. That touchdown by Cameron Brate. Well, really, it was pass interference on TJ Carey, but Cameron Brate initiated all of the contact.
Absolutely.
Ran right into him. He even pushed him off. Like, man, dude.
Oh, and shout out to Isaiah Rodgers for that pick, man. That was awesome ball tracking skills, man. He tracked that thing down, man.
Really good. I'm not even gonna. I don't like to spend too much time on officiating. I really don't. But getting into, dare I say, the ugly. You already know there's gonna be some ugly about this team. Let's go to Nyheim Hines. All right, he's flirted with a muff punt a couple times. He's flirted with it a few. I believe he had one against Miami, right? He had one against Miami.
Yep, it was Miami.
He's flirted with it a couple times. But in that situation, you're going to fair catch it at what? The 13-yard line, I think that's where the Buccaneers took over. Why are you falling to your knees? Look, Bubba Ventrone is too good of a coach for me to think that he's actually coaching you to fall on your damn knees to fair catch a pass. Bro, back the hell up and let the ball sail. Don't worry about, oh man, I don't want it to get stopped at the one. You're having your way on offense. Go with it. Get the hell out of the way. Who is falling to their knees, bro? Who? Man, I don't really have too much to say about that anyway, dude. I mean, but that was just stupid. That was ugly.
Yeah, like that. Absolutely unacceptable, man. It was one of those drives to where, the defense had to get a stop, and they finally forced a 3-and-out in the second half. I think they're only 3-and-out of the second half. And you get the punt, and for Nyheim Hines, that took all of the air out of Lucas Oil. You can see it. It was like that gut punch, that punch right to the stomach. And thank God DeForest Buckner was able to hold them. He deflected the ball that was probably going to be a touchdown and got them off the field. So they only got 3 points out of it. So shout out to Defoe for that. But Nyheim Hines, man, cardinal rule. If you can't get completely up under it, let it go. Get the hell out of the way. Let it bounce. Hopefully it bounces into the end zone. You get the ball at the 25. Like, that is unacceptable. You cannot drop down to the ground to try to fill a punt. It just made no sense. It just made absolutely no sense.
Yeah, so I really need it. I'm gonna get off Naheem Hines.
Yeah, not much to say.
Man, dude.
Ugly.
Dude.
Okay.
As a guy that sits on his couch, not in the NFL, never played college football, probably not even qualified to even question somebody that's in the pros about their job. But dude,
wait, Mike, before you do this, let me tell y'all how Mike obsesses with this. Last week when we beat the Bills, Mike was watching the game back that night. He's sitting on Twitter saying Eric Fisher was getting his ass whooped all game. I'm like, I had to tweet Mike and tell Mike, not today. We're celebrating a big win. We'll get into critiques on Monday. Just let us have this one. And then this happened. Okay, Mike, you have the floor.
Do I have the floor now?
Yes, you have the floor.
Okay. All righty. You got to love recording and also making TCU tweets at the same time, man. Gotta love being involved in NFL and college football. Yeah, shout out Lincoln Riley, man, going to SC. Oh man. Eric Fisher sucks ass at football. Like, I am that confident in my own ability to beat this man off the edge. Like, if we went to Indianapolis and he even got in my face and called me out, bro, I would beat him out on the field, on the practice field. I'd be there already. That's how confident I am. I will camp out on the practice field and wait for that matchup because I know I'm going for an all-pro day. Dude, this dude sucks ass, man. This dude sucks. I cannot consistently give him an excuse of an Achilles injury. I can't. I can't. It's not even an Achilles injury. The dude just straight up sucks. He sucks. This dude is a two-pack of ass. That is what he is. This dude got obliterated by a second-round rookie in Buffalo, in Boogie Basham. You saw it all year. He has consistently been bad. Wasn't it him that gave up the sack in Baltimore that changed the game? And we were like, what, inside the 10? Dude, come on. We are driving. We are in business. Even when Carson Wentz was going off, Lucas Oil was getting rowdy, my eye was still on Eric Fisher. And guess what? Shaq Barrett was beating him every single play. But Doyle, Doolin, Pittman, they were open, so Carson was able to get the ball out. Eric Fisher consistently got beat every single play. I don't want to hear nothing about run blocking. I don't give two shits about run blocking. We got 4 other guys that are really good at that. This is the left tackle position, the blind side to the quarterback, the blind side to the whole football team. And, man, this dude sucks. He sucks. Like, he is bad. And Matt Pryor must suck double if he's not getting a look at left tackle. And I do want to say this, though. When Matt Pryor came in the jumbo package in the fourth quarter, bro, he bullied a grown man in Jason Pierre-Paul. Jason Pierre-Paul is a grown-ass man. Don't nobody move him. Matt Pryor moved him off the right side. He literally gripped that mother effer by the jersey and pushed him back. Again, I want to see accountability. And I'm really looking at Chris Ballard. Now, I'm not expecting for him to go to Frank Reich and say, hey, I want to change, because that Chris Ballard doesn't do that in season. He evaluates the season, sits with Frank Reich, and talks about it after the season. He's not going to do that. Chris Ballard knows his role. He's going to sit in the box, scout, evaluate, watch the game. That's what he's going to do. But after this offseason, I need answers, man. I need answers. I need them. Defensively, left tackle. I need answers, man, because you did sign this guy. Now, although he has been at a Pro Bowl level, although he's been all of those things, pre-Achilles injury, he was also getting beat. Chris Ballard, this was your hire. Yes, everything lined up for you to sign him. The familiarity, he was drafted when you were on staff. I get it, but you got to take some heat for this signing, man. You have to. This can't keep going, man. Eric Fisher is a problem. He is the worst starter on this team in the last 2 years. He is the worst starter on this team in the last 2 years. In my opinion, he is the worst starter on this team. Easily.
It might be. What I'm gonna say is, since Mike touched on pretty much all of it, what I'm gonna say about it is the timing of it just couldn't be any worse. You know, the Colts they scored at the end of the first half. They were up 10. They got the ball back in the beginning of the second half and was literally in the red zone, about to take this thing to a three-score game in the second half. They were getting ready to go up 17. And I said to myself, if this team can go up 17 halfway at the beginning, halfway point through this third quarter, it might be over. We can put them away. That strip sack came, and that's the play I circled. Shaq Barrett not only beat Eric Fisher, sacked Carson Wentz, stripped Carson Wentz, and recovered it himself. And next thing you know, in 5 plays, Tampa Bay's going down to score. It could have went from a 17-point game. Instead, we were staring at a 3-point game, and I knew that with our defensive history in second halves, we was in trouble. That was the play I circled yesterday. That was, to me, the play that changed the game. And one thing I can say about tackles, and I'm not saying this was the case with Eric Fisher, but you can be right for most of the game. You give up a sack like that, you fail. You had a poor performance. It just can't happen. You can't get beat that easily. He just whiffed, man. He's just, and I understand Shaq Barrett is an elite edge rusher, but Eric Fisher, you were brought in to start. You was a Pro Bowler last season. That can't happen to you. I know you're coming off an Achilles injury, and I truly think in my heart of hearts, Eric Fisher will be a better player next year when he's a year away from that Achilles injury. But going into this offseason, you can't bank on that. You just can't take a risk and bank on it, because you never know. If you get the same Eric Fisher that we have gotten this year, then it's a complete failure. So I'm sure Ballard would do his due diligence and evaluate the position and make the best decision for the team moving forward, like he has done in the past. But man, that was the play. That was the play that changed the game yesterday. And it just sucks, man. It sucks because we was that close. And I got to look at the all-22, which I will tomorrow. It looked like Carson was throwing it. It looked like he saw something, and that could have been a possible touchdown. I think I'm going to puke myself if I look at the all-22 and it's somebody wide open in the end zone. I'm going to be sick probably when I see it.
Yeah,
but I'm going to check it out.
I haven't had a chance to fully look at the game yet. Usually I do that on a Monday. But I just did get the chance. I was a little bit busy at work, but dude, man, I mean, the Colts are sitting at 6-6, 5 games to go. You have the Patriots, who are on a hot streak right now. If you would have took care of your business, dude, you are right back in the division discussion. You just can't,
close, bro.
I mean, this team, you just can't trust this team, man. You can't. It's not because of Frank Reich. It's not because of Carson Wentz. It's because in the two biggest areas you need to be good. You just need to be good. The Colts aren't even good at left tackle or defense. They're not even good in those areas. They're not. Yes, the presence of Julian Blackman and Kari Willis is missed to a degree. But bro, what is this play calling? What is this? Why are we giving up so much yardage, giving up so much space on a last 2-minute drill on defense in a tie ball game? Man,
come on, Mike. Let's get to the question.
Can the Colts make the playoffs, man?
I think they can, man. I think they can. Out of these two games, I was saying they had to get one of these two before these two games happen. They got one, and they got the most important one, another AFC victory.
And we discussed that.
If we look at it, the Colts have 6 losses total. But 3 of those losses are to NFC teams, which is, if you have to lose, that's who you want to lose to. You know, I think the Colts can go 4-1 down the stretch, and they'll get in. But 5-0 would be preferably. But if we go 4-1, we got to beat the Patriots, got to beat the Raiders, the Texans, and the Jags. Get those 4. The Arizona game, if you had to drop one, that would be the game to drop, just because that'd be another NFC team. But you don't want to drop any of these if you can control it. I think the toughest game out of those 5 right now would probably be, I know a lot of people's going to say the Patriots game, but I still think it's Arizona. Kyler Murray just posed a different type of threat for this defense. And we know what this defense goes through with mobile quarterbacks, let alone a mobile quarterback that can actually throw that thing. And Kyler Murray is a flat stud. So I think that is the most difficult game just based off matchups. But we got to get the other 4. We got to go at least 4-1 down the stretch, and hope we have some favorable situations. You know, hopefully the division leaders keep winning and keep beating these wild card teams. I know Mike don't like it. Mike hates to depend on other teams to be able to do our thing.
I hate it.
Look at it this way. If we go 5-0 down the stretch, we control our own fate. And that should be the mentality the Colts have. I know they got this 1-0 mantra every week, but they have to look at the big picture and say, if we go 5-0, we won't need nobody to do nothing. We can let everything fall where it may fall. We'll be 11-6, and we'll get in no matter what.
See, and that's where I question, what is this team's goal? To make the playoffs? Because I've asked a couple people that I know that have been in college, you know, that have a couple guys that I know are in the NFL that are from my hometown. Dolphins tight end Durham Smythe and Zach Shackelford on the Buccaneers practice squad. What is your mindset when you're in this season, at this point in the season? Are you thinking championship? Are you really just thinking everything on your mind is getting to the playoffs? And when you get to the playoffs, it's like, damn, we've been harping playoffs this whole time. What do we do now? It's like, it's a mentality thing. What are we trying to do? Like, I'm not, you know, I think I'm getting better at not letting the emotions after a big loss affect me, because there is just too much talent on this team. But the fallacies on this team are in the most important spots. Pass rush, left tackle. You're about to go against Arizona. You're about to go against New England. Can you even go 4-1? Can you go 3-2 in this 5-game stretch? I don't know if you can. Matthew Judon is going to feast against Eric Fisher, Chandler Jones. Man, all these guys are going to target Eric Fisher, man. They're going to. And the Colts got to gear up. If you had to have an absolute blunder of a game, yesterday was the game to do it. Get together. You have 4 AFC games left. Get those AFC games, and for God's sakes, get the tiebreakers in conference record. Get the tiebreakers. That's what you got to do. I think now you really got to just hope for Baltimore, Kansas City to win out. Who's New England to possibly win out, because you want Buffalo to be in the wild card so you can get over them because you have the head-to-head. So
the good thing about it is no matter what goes on in the Buffalo, New England, if you beat New England, you'll have the tiebreak over whichever one of those guys that fall to the wild card spot.
Yeah.
So that's the good thing about the AFC East is that no matter what, if you handle your business, which you did with Buffalo already, now you have to beat New England. If you beat New England, the Bills and New England still have to play each other twice this season.
Yes.
So that's going to go into our favor.
They haven't even faced each other yet. That's what's crazy. That's what's crazy.
Still got 2 matchups left.
Yeah, and what I like about it is that we're getting a game against Houston, who you still got to take serious, take care of your business, and then you get a bye week. You get a bye week. Quentin Nelson can get more healthy. DeForest Buckner can get more healthy. Darius Leonard can get more healthy. Get your guys together. And, I mean, at this point in the season, in week 14, do you even go on vacation, or do you just stay and just get right?
I think at that point, you stay and get right.
You stay and get right.
If it's early in the season,
you
go, but
it's still nothing but business. You still got to watch tape on New England, on Oakland, Las Vegas. You got to watch these games. You have to. So, guys, I think that's all the time we're going to have for this episode. I'm not even sure how long this went. It was a good episode. It was a very, very disappointing loss once again. But can this team get it together? Can they watch this film from this game, pull it all together? Evidence, history says they won't. This type of team won't, not the Colts specifically, but this type of team won't. But hey, some things are meant to be broken, right? History is meant to be made. So let's just hope, the playoffs, you're playing to win the game. Yes, I've harped about first round pick and everything, my love for Ahmad Gardner, but damn it, man, I want a Super Bowl. That's what I want. So, man, screw Ahmad Gardner, because we're not getting him now. Let's just go get his counterpart, Kobe Bryant, at the University of Cincinnati. Let's go get him or Jermaine Waller. So, guys, this has been the Blue Stable Podcast. Once again, the official Colts podcast of Fansided. Rashad, congratulations on getting Lincoln Riley to USC. All right.
Hey, fight on.
We'll be back. Hey, man, y'all did gift us Brian Carrington to TCU.
Yep.
An elite recruiter.
Great recruiter. Yeah, great recruiter.
Amazing recruiter.
LSU just landed Brian Kelly doing our show too, huh?
I know, man. I know. Marcus Freeman is a guy who I think should take over that job. If not, come on over to TCU and take over that defensive coordinator job. It's waiting for you. They got a good office with the field view too, man. It's a beautiful, beautiful program, beautiful facilities at TCU in Fort Worth. But anyways, guys, thank you again for tuning in for this show, guys. Once again, he's Rashad McGinnis. I am Michael Terrazas. Make sure to comment, like, subscribe on YouTube, rate, review on Apple Podcasts. Truly appreciate it, guys. We love you. Hope you guys love us. It's all nothing but fun and games and football debate all the time, guys. We love y'all. Have a good weekend. We will be back at you once again this week with a Houston Texans preview. Take care.